Carnival is known as the fun cruise line, but your trip can feel like the best vacation ever or complete chaos depending on the ship, the crowd, and even the length of the sailing. Here is what no one tells you before you book. 3-night Carnival cruises pack a different kind of energy than week-long adventures. On these short sailings, the crowd skews young and ready to squeeze every drop out of a quick getaway. Data from recent manifests shows that 57% of guests on a typical 3-night trip are under 35. The ship feels like a floating festival. Music pulses from the Lido deck, bars fill early, and poolside games run late into the night. By noon on embarkation day, the Lido is already at 92% capacity, with every lounger claimed and lines snaking from the main bar. For someone like Ashley, who booked a last-minute weekend escape with friends, the atmosphere is electric. A blur of themed parties, karaoke showdowns, and impromptu dance-offs. But the same high-octane vibe can overwhelm travelers seeking downtime or families with young kids. Short cruises often mean tighter schedules and more people per square foot, especially around the pools and buffet. The party crowd dominates, and the ship's public spaces reflect that, from packed hot tubs to late-night pizza runs. Choosing a 3-night or 4-night itinerary puts you right in the middle of this scene, for better or worse. If you crave constant action and do not mind crowds, a short Carnival cruise delivers. But if your ideal vacation involves quiet mornings and plenty of personal space, it pays to consider a longer sailing, or at least to know what you are signing up for before you hit book now. The architecture of your Carnival ship does more than set the mood. It shapes every step you take and how easy it is to find a quiet spot or a free elevator. On the newest Vista-class ships, the difference is obvious from the moment you board. These floating resorts carry up to 4,000 passengers, but their design works to spread people out. The Gateway Lounge concept, introduced by Italian architect Antonio Di Oronzo, acts as a pressure valve. It pulls guests into spacious multi-level lounges before they reach the Lido deck, thinning out the crowds that usually bottleneck at the pool or buffet. With 16 elevators spaced across 4 banks, Vista-class ships keep people moving, even during the post-show rush or the morning scramble for breakfast. Compare that to the Spirit class, where just 12 elevators serve the entire ship. On busy days, lines snake through the central atrium. Guests wait, sometimes impatiently, as only a few lifts crawl between decks. Fantasy-class ships, designed in the 1990s, share this limitation. Their classic promenade layout funnels everyone through the same narrow corridors, and the main atrium turns into a choke point at peak hours. Crew members report that on older ships, the line for the buffet can stretch 30% longer than on Vista-class vessels. Veteran cruisers have learned to work the system. One self-described cruise hacker books cabins near the stairwells on Vista ships, skipping elevators entirely when the after-dinner crowd surges. Others time their meals to avoid the Lido rush, taking advantage of the extra space and multiple entry points on newer ships. The hardware matters. A ship with more elevators and wider lounges offers not just comfort, but a real edge when it comes to enjoying your time on board. For travelers who value elbow room and smoother crowd flow, picking the right class of ship can make all the difference, even before you start thinking about what you will spend once you are on board. Ashley's cruise felt like a bargain until the last night when she checked her Sail and Sign account. The numbers did not add up. Her 3-night getaway, advertised at $600 for 2 people, had quietly grown into a bill that nearly doubled the fare. Carnival's base price covers a bed, basic meals, and a few shows. Almost everything else lands as a separate charge. The ledger reads like a restaurant receipt on overdrive. $14 per person per day for automatic gratuities, $20 per head in port taxes, $9 a day Wi-Fi, arcade games, specialty coffees, and every cocktail or glass of wine. Even a single spa visit or a round of souvenir photos can push the balance higher. For a typical couple, the final bill for a week at sea can easily top $2,300, almost twice the headline fare. The list of exclusions is long. Alcohol, specialty restaurants, shore excursions, laundry, and even bottled water all cost extra. The Sail and Sign system keeps the spending frictionless, but the shock comes at checkout when the full tally appears. For first-timers, Seeing the final ledger can feel like a wake-up call. Carnival's cheers. Drink package is everywhere in the marketing, but the math behind it is less obvious. At $59 per day per person, the package covers most alcoholic drinks and sodas, but not specialty coffees or bottled water. The real question is whether you will actually drink enough to come out ahead. Carnival's own pricing puts the break-even point at around 8 standard drinks per day. That means unless you are ordering cocktails from lunch through midnight, the package can end up costing more than buying drinks one by one. On port days, most people spend hours off the ship, which cuts into the number of drinks you can reasonably have. The package is automatically added to your account unless you opt out at least 48 hours before sailing, a detail that catches plenty of first-timers off guard. Persona C learnt this the hard way. After a week of moderate drinking, the final bill showed she had paid $413 for the package, but only ordered $168 worth of drinks. For anyone who does not plan to hit the bars constantly, it pays to grab a calculator, estimate your likely daily consumption, and decide before that 48-hour window closes. The best strategy is to be honest about your habits and remember that sea days and port days are not created equal when it comes to value. For families like the Rodriguezes, the daily question is not what to eat, it is how to get the most value out of every meal. On Carnival, the buffet and main dining room are included in your fare, and that is where the real savings hide in plain sight. The Lido buffet offers an all-you-can-eat spread that would easily run $12 to $15 per entree at a typical shore restaurant. Main dining rooms rotate 3-course menus with entrees that rival most specialty spots, and desserts and coffee are always part of the deal. For a family of 4, sticking with these venues keeps the food bill predictable and leaves room in the budget for the occasional treat. Specialty restaurants like the Steakhouse tempt about a quarter of guests, but every visit adds a $38 cover charge per person before drinks. That is a splurge, not a staple. The Rodriguezes learn to use the included options for most meals, grabbing burgers at Guy's or tacos at Blue Iguana for lunch, and saving specialty dining for a single memorable night. The value hierarchy is clear: buffet and main dining first, specialty venues only if the budget allows. Timing meals to avoid peak lines at the buffet also means less time waiting and more time enjoying the ship. A sudden storm in Galveston once left hundreds of Carnival passengers lined up for 2 hours at security, a delay widely reported by those on board, but not something you will find in the brochure. Even on a normal day, embarkation lines can snake through the terminal if you arrive after 10 in the morning. The trick is to check in as early as possible, keep your travel documents ready, and head straight to your cabin or the least crowded bar when you board. After evening shows, the Lido buffet turns into a bottleneck, with guests reporting waits of up to 45 minutes for a plate of food. Veteran cruisers avoid the rush by grabbing dinner before showtime, or seeking out smaller snack stations tucked away from the main traffic. When elevators fill to capacity after big events, the stairwells become the fastest route, especially between Deck 9 and Deck 11. Timing your moves is not just a convenience. It is the first step in making sure your vacation time is not lost to endless lines. Sleep quality on a Carnival cruise depends more on cabin location than most people realize. Sound measurements show that midship cabins on lower decks average between 58 and 63 decibels at night, about the hum of a quiet office. Move up to the upper forward decks, and that number can spike to 85 decibels when the nightclub or pool is in full swing. Ship motion follows the same pattern. Midship, lower deck rooms experience just 0.4 degrees of roll in moderate seas, while cabins forward or high up can feel nearly triple that, at 1.1 degrees or more. The simple rule: if you want steady sleep, book as close to the center and as low as your budget allows. Interior cabins may save money, but weigh that against the trade-offs: less natural light, more chance of hallway noise, and occasional overnight cleaning cycles. For most travelers, the extra effort to secure a midship, lower deck room pays off in real rest. Missing the ship is more than an urban legend. It happens. and the consequences are steep. In Ocho Rios, a solo traveller who cut it too close with an independent zipline tour faced a $1,400 bill to catch up at the next port. Carnival's official advice is clear: always leave a buffer, especially in tender ports where the only way back is by small boat. The safest window is at least 30 to 60 minutes before the last tender, even if your excursion claims to be back on time. Booking directly through Carnival is not always necessary, but if you go independent, set your own return deadline and stick to it. A missed ship is not just a vacation headache. It is a costly mistake that is easy to avoid with a simple timing rule. Every year, millions board Carnival ships expecting all-inclusive fun, yet the real cost is shaped by choices most travelers never see coming. In a world of clever pricing and constant upsells, knowing what's beneath the surface matters more than ever. The smartest cruise is the one you see clearly.